very nice to meet everyone. Quick introduction, I'm Martin Frood, one of the principal lecturers at the University of Cumbria, Centre of Excellence Paramedic Practice, and with myself is my esteemed colleague Nick Carter, who's one of the senior lecturers working within the programme. And the programme, a bit of narrative, is essentially bridging, taking existing clinicians who are non-paramedic. A bit closer. Sorry, is that better? A bit closer. Sorry, is that better? Sorry, I won't start again, I won't bore you, but essentially a bit of narrative on a programme. It's taking clinicians who are non-paramedics but working on an ambulance and actually supporting their learning and journey into a paramedic apprenticeship and looking at their practice and evidencing it. So that's a bit of narrative about what we're going to go through today. You can hear me now, which is great, so I'm going to hand over to Nick. Thank you very much.
So, to give you a bit of background then, the ambulance service takes people from all walks of life, from different occupational services, those straight from school, and funnels them through an education programme that the ambulance service delivers in its own unique way, taking them to kind of about here. Traditionally, the ambulance service would upskill its own staff, take it through their own paramedic programme, and then have a whole load of people becoming paramedics. That has now stopped. So paramedics now have to go through a university, which is where we kind of come in. We take people who have been at this level here, possibly up to 20 years or even sort of less, maybe sort of 18 months, and we take them through a bridging programme. We take people who have got the occupational experience and exposure, but as I say, at some point may not have those academic skills. And we bridge them into the second year with the foundation degree. And at that point, they then go on to the third year, and qualify with us as paramedics. But we had a few problems. When we started the course, we had a whole load of portfolios completed on paper. Now, as you know, ambulances operate in many different environments, including snow, wind, rain, and portfolios completed in ambulances as well, while people are often having their tea and coffee. So the portfolios would come to us, often stacks of paper filled with kind of tea stains and a whole load of other stuff, which made it very difficult to kind of deal with. Students were required to access courses throughout the country. To give you a better background, the University of Cumbria deals with 11 UK ambulance services, including Channel Islands as well, so diversity across the country. We've got a great population to deal with. We also had students working offline, which presented a bit of an issue about how these sort of students are then going to be able to complete their portfolios if you move to an electronic platform. And evidence collation needed to require sort of a pragmatic approach. How are we going to get all of these portfolios together with us, and how are we going to collate all of this evidence together? We also needed to provide feedback to people. As you can imagine, the Isle of Guernsey is a beautiful island. I haven't managed to make my way over there yet, but if you've got portfolios being submitted to them, how are we going to provide feedback to them? So we had to kind of come up with some kind of solution. We also had to then sort of have our own internal quality assurance mechanisms, so we'd be marking these portfolios, but how do we make sure that actually our assessors are also marking them to the standards required? So we had a whole range of issues that we needed to overcome whilst delivering these courses nationally and across the Channel Islands as well.
Perfect, thank you very much. I'm not going to touch that microphone, I might get feedback. Okay, so what was our approach? So we framed the problem. First and foremost, sort of consultation with the awarding body and requirements, and this is where the bridging is quite interesting and how we had to work quite creatively, I think, with PebblePad on that, because it wasn't just a solution to evidence practical competencies. We had to look at experiential learning, we had to look at APEL to meet APEL requirements and awarding body requirements. We had to provide some e-learning and assessment, and we needed a package, a platform, a vehicle to do that, which is where we use various different functions of PebblePad in line with the awarding body's requirements. And essentially the awarding body would mandate a number of LOs and assessment criteria that students had to evidence against to have, to receive a national qualification which allows through APEL for them to come on to the paramedic apprenticeship and to progress through. So if they don't get the national qualification, they won't come through APEL onto the paramedic apprenticeship. So consultation with students, absolutely fundamental. What is working for them in practice, and the team, when we worked with PebblePad and created a portfolio, we're operational clinicians ourselves, paramedics on the road, so we know what works in practice and what doesn't and what the challenges are. but it's also sending out to students as well. So with partners and ambulance services saying, what do your students need? Commissioning surveys, how would this work in practice? And looking for that pragmatic approach. Sorry, am I moving away? That's not a bad thing. You can hear me at the front, that's the problem. Okay, so looking at review of feedback mechanisms, this links into the awarding body's requirements and regulatory requirements, EQA and so forth. And ensuring a student journey from onboarding through to IQA is seamless and prepares the student for further study, because we're taking experienced clinicians who are non-paramedics, who may be very new to academia. Some may have never been to academia in their working lives, and we're expecting to bring them onto a level 5 program. So through APEL, there's quite a jump, as we can appreciate. So we need to make sure that the portfolio met those requirements and supported students. Essentially, the portfolio, it's quite similar looking at other colleagues' portfolios, because they're laid out in a very similar way, and it's a very intuitive format. Three key areas was the practical logbook, where students have to evidence the majority of competencies on the bridging course. And we use an evidence template, which we'll look at very shortly, linked into PebblePad, so students can evidence their competencies in practice and upload those into the portfolio, which can then be reviewed by the IQA and the awarding body. And also highlighting the different functions we use, so students find really following holistic assessment principles and sort of holistic evidence collation. They can get lots of assets and pieces of evidence and store them centrally in one place, which they can build on when they're on the paramedic course in year 2 and year 3 and develop as reflective practitioners about where they've come from to where they are now. And I think that's a really useful tool, having that asset store on PebblePad. The Pebble Pocket, which some will be aware of, some will not. Evidence sign-off offline. So this is a template which is used across the whole paramedic programs through to their final year in evidence collation sign-offs. A very clean, simple template where they evidence the type of assessment that's been observed, what they have done, and their colleague, occupationally competent professional, namely a paramedic, will review the evidence and sign it off in practice. Then they've created an asset which could meet a number of assessment criteria for the awarding body's requirements, and it builds on that reflective practitioner approach. I think the key thing is it can be used offline, because when we surveyed and when we speak to students and also our own operational experiences, we don't want to use our own Wi-Fi. If you use station Wi-Fi, not the best. If you're uploading assets and accessing a portfolio at 3 in the morning in the middle of the countryside, you're not going to be wanting to use your own mobile data if you have any. So actually having the students can use it offline to create the evidence pieces, and then when they get internet, good internet access, a simple button, and it's uploaded into the portfolio. That has been invaluable in practice and is very much a pragmatic approach to meet operational requirements. Okay, we also embedded e-learning and assessment, and I've included this slide because the portfolio, we used Google Forms, and for the assessment we used Microsoft Forms. Other providers are available, I may add, just for the legal aspects. But we created these presentations and embedded them into the portfolio, which we found invaluable because students were able to come on, take ownership for their portfolio, complete practical competencies, which was the majority of it, complete e-learning and e-assessments, and that met the APEL, recognition of prior learning validation requirements, because what we're saying is they are already experienced clinicians. So we're not asking them to reinvent the wheel, we're asking them to evidence what they do in practice and fill in the gaps through APEL. And that's why embedding the slides in the assessment was really useful to kind of meet the awarding body's requirements. So there's different functions we've used of it. Okay, how are we doing for time? 2 minutes, right. Student feedback. Oh, no. So student feedback used to be done through paper forms, quite an ad hoc basis, not an ad hoc basis, but it was quite hard to document where it was. So we moved a new system which allows feedback to be placed directly in students' portfolios, which they can access, and also at monthly milestones, so students can review that. It's also important from a compliance perspective, so that the EQA and IQA can review feedback given to students. IQA feedback leads on from that. So IQA historically was paper-based and GDPR requirements, information governance, collating records, very hard to do in one place, using PebblePad, streamlining the IQA reports, a lot more efficient, and of course meets the regulatory requirements as well. Importantly, it allows the students to reflect on their learning, because they can go in and to see it. Lessons learned, clear, concise. Is this unit?
Get away.
No, I don't want to give them.
You haven't got much time, have you? Okay, some of the lessons we learned then. Students needed clear, concise instructions for how to use the portfolio. Whilst it's quite intuitive, there were some issues that we had in terms of sharing portfolios, in terms of accessing some of our e-learning software. So we had to produce some very clear guidance on how they did this. We did find a few glitches with software, so we encouraged our students to save all of their work on Microsoft Forms, and then, not Microsoft Forms, sorry, Word, and then save it into the portfolio as well, which is just sort of a bit of a fail-safe mechanism as well. One of the biggest things we found is it's really difficult to see how students are engaging, so it'd be really useful to find out how you guys are doing this. We found last modified, which we always assumed was how the students last modified things, but actually turns out that gets adjusted when we modify things as well. So it's difficult to track how students, when the last time they accessed their portfolio, when they last signed in, and what they did, so it'd be really useful to find out how you guys deal with this. And we also found that embedding recorded videos was so fantastically useful, that producing sort of information for them, it was great. In terms of the opportunities that we have found for this, it allows us to deliver our program nationally across the country, which is great. It allows assessors to work across the country as well, so we've got people working down in Devon, up in Scotland as well, assessing these portfolios. Students can access the portfolios 24/7 days, 365 days a year, and it brings me great satisfaction to see a piece of evidence signed off on Christmas Day at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm in my bed. It's a simple platform to use. It's really easy for people to just click on the buttons, add the things they need to use. And it allows students with a neurodivergence to be able to produce evidence in a variety of different ways, whether that's typed up and written, or whether that's recorded, whether that's videoed. It allows students to produce a whole range of different evidence to meet their requirements. And it also allows us a simple method of marking and feeding back to students, which is great. Thank you very much for that.